from Facebook, Matthias sent me a question. He said, if you're both an engineer and have some business acumen, how do you go about starting your own solo business? There's a lot to do as a solo entrepreneur, or an entrepreneur in general. So how do you prioritize between the engineering and the business side, all the different things you need to do as part of an early stage startup?
I'm obviously biased because of what I do, but there are a few tools now that let you do things much faster from to build a product. I mean, Bubble is one way. You have a few other ways to do that quickly. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't have the product first, there's not much to do business with. So I would very much recommend, get a product out of the door as soon as possible. Again, with a few tools, you can probably make that happen in a few weeks, and do that first, and then worry about other things. The business side of things is honestly in technology today, especially if you're building something B2C, much less important than it used to be. In the B2B space, it kind of depends a little bit more on the type of bees you're dealing with. If you're dealing with SMBs, small businesses and consumers, there is even a new word, to categorize them, which is like, prosumers, if you will. It's not very different. If you start selling to very big companies, in that case, it's different. I would recommend testing the idea from a business standpoint before investing on the product.
I guess it depends on what project you're building, how you go about testing it, but do you have any advice for how to test something before you've built it?
Well, again, I mean, if it's customer facing, I think the best way to test it is to have something that actually works. And don't try to make something too pretty, but using something like Bubble, or again, I don't want to just, be pitching my own solution. You have other tools out there that let you build something in a week or 2 weeks. Well, invest, the 2 weeks it takes to have something that actually works and you can launch to the world. Just don't try to make it beautiful too soon, because in the early days, it doesn't have to be. For more enterprise type of things, that usually, I mean, people wouldn't start something in the enterprise space if they don't have like a deep knowledge about the field and what the pain point that people are facing. If you don't have that, well, you have to figure this out first, which means talking to people. My understanding is that it takes basically years to see that in an industry, and then you start seeing, like, if you're building, for instance, a product management tool for like construction sites, like people building things. If you're not part of that industry, or if you haven't been exposed to that industry for quite a while, it's going to be hard for you to know exactly what people need. One advice I would give, though, and it's something that I see people doing again and again and again, is it's one thing to try to test early, but I would also recommend not to launch too soon. And by launching, I mean having like high visible launch, whether it's on Product Hunt, in the Hacker, or in the news, because people tend to do that too soon before they actually have optimized the conversion. When you have those kind of like media exposure thing, it's a one-time thing most of the time. You're going to wait probably another year or two to get another one, and so you want to wait as long as possible while still iterating on the product. So what that means is that try to find kind of what we did, honestly. Like find 50 users that are extremely engaged, that desperately need your product. Work with them, interact with them on a daily basis. Like I was on Skype probably 2 hours a day for the first 2 years with our users to understand what they were doing. Iterate on that before trying to get too many users. My personal view is that 1 hour conversation with every user per week with 10 users is much more valuable than like 100 users in terms of data gathering.